Mass Effect 5 is gonna be the most focused game you have probably seen in a long time. Dragon Age Railguard devs have been moved to Mass Effect 5. BioWare has learned absolutely nothing, and the game industry is still imploding with all of this DEI garbage nonsense. I bet you're feeling hyped for Mass Effect 5 now, hearing all of this.
Gaming industry has been infiltrated and taken over by indoctrinated life forms that are trying to corrupt and destroy everything that we, cultured humans, hold near and dear to our hearts. This
Like hentai. Straight hentai. They attack on... There's so much gay shit. It's so sad. Sad. We need to take back what's ours, boys. That's all I'm saying.
time they decided to go after Mass Effect, silently attempting to incorporate their message into the legacy of one of the best gaming franchises. And by they, I don't mean the Reapers that are putting the crew of the Normandy and their legacy under attack yet again. No, it's an even worse enemy that we've got to deal with now, cause it's the very people that are developing and designing those games.
Is it Batman? I always knew Batman's a cuck.
People filled with so much narcissism that they've turned against us fans. Today we have yet another such case, where the creator of a Mass Effect game changed the lore of the game, received criticism cause fans didn't like it, had a meltdown.
Is this more about the she, they, them, z's, blah, 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 blah thing? You know, remember? With the Unari, Atari, whatever the hot green alien babes are called in Mass Effect. And by the way, I don't know a lot about Mass Effect, but I kind of remember the part of their lore that they are explicitly only women. So having pronouns for that is just virtue signaling fucking nonsense, okay? Disgusting.
And then decided to fall back on the strategy of attacking the audience with straight up insults. And spoiler, that only made things worse. So let's get into the story.
Always does.
It all started with this headline that confused a lot of people. Mass Effect the board game, priority Haggler's design.
Oh yeah, this is it. This is the pronoun shit.
Attacks fans as effing man babies after game receives negative reviews, allegedly for pushing gender ideology. Now, if I had a nickel for every time I've seen a headline of that sort, I would have a lot of money. I would be able to finally buy myself Baldur's Gate 3, which is still so freaking expensive even years after release. But sadly, I don't get paid for reading such headlines. But what are people talking about when they say that Mass Effect is pushing gender ideology? Well, those screenshots are making the rounds online, where it's quite
She-they, from a race that exclusively only has women. Bravo, so brave. So brave. I hope that you know, 5 years past and statistics takes its toll.
Quite obvious what they're doing here, forcing gender ideology into the game and onto the characters. As you can see, Shepard he/him pronouns, Liara she/they pronouns, right below their names. Also, just a quick mention, in the topic, I've noticed that they even wrote adrenaline wrong. The word is missing the D, quite a sloppy mistake to be honest. But the main issue that people are complaining about are of course the pronouns being added to those characters. Especially in a way so that there's no way you're gonna miss them, cause they're written right below the character names. And you know, before we go on looking at what—
Be inclusive, you bigot. Only Nazis don't like pronouns. You wanna be a Nazi? Yes, I do. I would love to see you in places where you are not allowed to express these opinions because it's pure cultural destruction. And you probably hate the world. You hate life. Simple.
What those pronouns led to, we should take a look at what the actual problem is. Because some of you might be in favor of pronouns being added to characters, and you might be wondering, what's the big deal with—
Yeah, and you're probably also currently cutting yourself because someone misgendered you in the drive-thru or something like that. Who cares, though?
Pronouns being added to games like this. Or you're heavily opposed to pronouns being added cause you reject every other identity other than male and female, and think that we never needed pronouns to tell them apart from each other. But no matter which position you hold on gender ideology, everyone looking at this specific case here objectively can see that this is clearly virtue signaling what they're doing here. And virtue signaling about—
like literally everything they do.
Something as controversial as gender ideology is usually not a good decision for your game or your franchise. For every game that does this and succeeds, or succeeds in spite of this, there are dozens that fail after adding divisive stuff like this. And that's pretty much what happened.
Wait, which one was the last pronouns game that actually succeeded? Baldur's Gate 3 did have pronouns if you wanted them, but that doesn't count because they just wanted to give you every option under the sun, and sadly, yes, that is an option. But what other than Baldur's Gate games succeeded by having pronouns? Because typically, having one red flag means that you're hiding the rest. You cannot live your life expecting everything to be fine while the world is burning around you. You cannot expect someone who shoved you once to stop pushing you out of the sheer goodness of their heart. You cannot expect these things. The world doesn't change, the world only turns. It's up to you to change it or bend it, wind, or break it. There is nothing else.
To this game. Only that the creators decided to start a fire and then added fuel to it. Cause things would get a little more complicated when the designer of this game, Eric Lang, would have a complete meltdown on social media.
Beautiful.
He made this post on Blue Sky, the Twitter alternative, where he said, "I'm so proud of Mass Effect, and so endlessly tired of the effing man babies who try and tank our board game geek rating because we took 10 seconds to add pronouns to the squad mates. And yes, I realize that reacting to them gives them oxygen, but F off. I get to be mad about this stupid stuff." He's acting like a child that discovered curse words for the first time and is now using them in every sentence. That dude is complaining about people being man babies for leaving negative reviews on a game, but this post here is what an actual man baby does. Complaining about people criticizing a product and having such—
Damn, that's the oldest baby I have ever seen in my life. It's currently thinking about, oh shit, now my 401k doesn't matter anymore. Jesus fucking Christ. It's probably thinking about its grandchildren. Look at that old baby. What is happening here? Why did you make a baby so old? What is this someone aging backwards? Jesus Christ. This baby is late to the board games, chess in the park, and everything. And the diaper needs to be changed. What the fuck?
People criticizing a product and having such meltdowns where he's insulting people, his audience on top of that, for voicing their opinions, where some of which happen to be negative. Something that he can't deal with and becomes unable to control himself. But before we take a look at how the controversy this game caused played out, let me tell you why I and so many others have a problem with their inclusion of pronouns here in particular. And this is coming from the perspective of a Mass Effect fan here.
Because it doesn't matter, it should have never been done, and it makes no fucking sense.
Here. Played the first game, loved it. Played the second game, loved it even more. It's one of my favorite games. And I'm currently in the process of playing through the third one. I don't know how far I am into that game, but a good amount I would say. It's just hard to find the time to actually sit down and play, cause I got personal responsibilities, I got this channel here which I invest a lot of my time into, and then there are the shows that I'm watching, like currently Dexter, which is also time consuming. But we're getting off topic here. The reason why I and other Mass Effect fans are opposed to the pronouns that were added here, apart from the arguments of rejecting gender ideology, and the argument that of course the male version of Shepard is gonna have the pronouns he and him like no shit Sherlock, but the main problem is actually Liara, where they added the pronouns she and they. And if you're not a Mass Effect fan, you might think that she's clearly a female, so adding the pronouns she/they is stupid and unnecessary. And if you are a Mass Effect fan, you would either agree or disagree about the addition of pronouns, but you should also realize that Liara, out of all characters, having the pronouns she/they makes the least amount of sense. It's so funny to see Liara, of all Mass Effect characters, using she/they pronouns, when she is from a monogendered species, and different pronouns wouldn't make sense to them. People only refer to her as she because she, and by extension all Asari, look female. In her own words in Mass Effect 1, male and female have no real meaning to us, Asari. Asari are monogendered, and monogender doesn't mean non-binary. It means that gender has no meaning to them. Not because it doesn't exist, but because the Asari had nothing to differentiate for centuries. There is no male or female, and people refer to Asari as female just because of how they look and talk. That's why—
Whoa. Pretty sure you can fuck an Asari like a... Yes? But we're all thinking it, and it should be true considering everything else contextualized. Like the Krogans fighting in a bot about how the Asari looks hot and Kroganish. You know, stuff like that.
When space travel was invented and all the species started coming in contact with each other, Asari started referring to themselves and their people as females. And the entire Asari species is female coded. Asari can even get pregnant, but it doesn't have to be by a male. Their reproduction method, as described in the Codex for Council Species, is a form of parthenogenesis. They quote-unquote melt with their mates through their nervous system. Sexual interactions may occur, but they aren't necessary. And no matter what, the offspring will always be Asari.
Pretty gay.
Throughout all the games, from what I remember, all Asari used she/her pronouns. Liara never used a they pronoun.
Why are we even entertaining this, by the way? It's like, it's so fucking clear. It's just not... It's not even worth talking about, though, at the end of the day. This is not a point that matters for anyone sane, okay? This is a point that matters for someone who's probably not gonna exist, statistically speaking, in the next 5 years because fucking reasons. Or they're gonna get banned off of Reddit's detransitioning Reddit. Okay? One of two. Never anything else, though.
Wrong. For an entire group of people like activists in the game industry who are wrong as a profession, they hate being reminded of that. So law is always a problem.
God, I remember this. People got so pissed. Why is the Suicide Squad killing Batman? Okay, the game was shit, but bro, what do you think? The Suicide Squad is not gonna kill Batman? Some people were playing this game and they were pissed that they end up playing the Suicide Squad, but they don't save Batman, they don't save Superman, they don't save the good guys, and they don't become the good guys. That was crazy, okay? That was crazy. This is why I don't like DC. Except John Constantine, who is the fucking GOAT. But other than that, DC is extremely homosexual.
For them. It's also a reason why all of these long-running franchises suddenly go multiversal, so they can get around the lore problem in the lamest way possible. But Mass Effect isn't multiversal, there's only one canon, and when activists come in and start retconning aspects about the lore, then fans should stand up and gatekeep their franchise, before it gets ruined beyond saving. Especially by people like Eric Lang that claim to love Mass Effect, yet then attack other fans for trying to gatekeep its lore. And going back to his post, you can see the ratings breakdown at the time of his post. In terms of the 10 rating, there's 14, and in terms of the 1 rating, there are
We have already seen
10.
this. I remember
So just keep
this.
that ratio in mind, because we will revisit how the ratings updated over time. However, he would go over to Twitter to complain further about the situation, where he would say this: "I hate even talking about this on social media, but if you played the Mass Effect board game, would you..."
Bro, I kind of don't care about any of this also. I mean, I just want actual Mass Effect news, not some kind of stupid shit board game, if I'm being completely honest.
They think they can do and say whatever they want, and none of their critics will see what they're doing on Blue Sky, because they're only surrounded by like-minded people.
I also remember
Because, as I
this thought.
said, Blue Sky is essentially a Twitter alternative, where these people have gone because they think that Twitter is no longer safe for them to exist on because of their political opinions. So they instead post them over on Blue Sky. And there we get bangers like this one by Eric Lang, where he said this: "Rare political post on Blue Sky, but wow." Not rare, by the way. In quotes, "Political violence has no place," end quote. Looks at USA's serial bipartisan funding of international political violence through, checks notes, all of history. Alrighty then. Like I mentioned, it's not rare of those people to get political, especially on Blue
I mean, that's actually true no matter how you want to check it. This is true though.
Sky, which, if you're trying to sell your product to as many people as possible, isn't a good idea. But for this post in particular, it's important to understand the context. This was posted on July 15th of this year, 2 days after the attempted assassination attempt on former US President Donald Trump. And he's saying this in response to all the people saying that political violence has no place.
Oh, yeah, I know, I remember this one. Huh,
And
what an asshole.
he is seemingly trying to justify that assassination attempt and political violence in
Hey, a lot of people are always justifying this. As long as your side looks good, you justify everything.
general, which is a very unhinged thing to do. But again, because it's Blue Sky, nobody's paying attention. But focusing on recent posts from Eric Lang on Blue Sky, he posted this in response to more negative reviews. In this post, that I think he also deleted at this point, he said this: "This is what you get for letting your guard down for 1 second and speaking in anger. F me, I'm just tired." And as you can see, the ratings breakdown has significantly shifted ever since he started to insult people and
Whoa, wait, this is different than I remember, okay.
back for more positive reviews. In fact, if you compare his two posts that had a difference of 1 day, on the left you see the ratings before he insulted fans and started begging for more positive reviews, and on the right it's the ratings after he did that. And as you can see, the 10 rating went from 14 to 30, so an increase of 16, and the 1-star rating went from 10 to
Okay. Another great clickbait video, I see. Well, anyway. Mass Effect is dead. That is true. On every level. Mass Effect 5 is going to be disgusting. If it actually ever even happens, honestly. At this point, I am not completely even sold that they're going to finish it, but who knows. Anyway, that was Nurion, 10 out of 10. Bye!